It's the return of the Tuesday Night Free for All, Part 2. So, what do you want to talk about? What's up, folks? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We are here once again at the Tuesday Night Fireside Chat. I had a brain fart for a minute. I couldn't figure out where the heck I was at. But it's Tuesday night. Builders Tribe Fireside Chat, man. I tell you what, I'm excited. As you know, every week I am ready to go. We got, let's see, we are live. We are definitely showing live here. And as usual, Mr. Weapon is coming in hot. Oh, man. Typical Tuesday night, guys. That's all right because we love it. We enjoy it. We love being here, and we thank you for being here. And let me turn my phone down. That way I don't have any kind of feedback, even though this mic's pretty good. It probably wouldn't even pick it up. But anyway, let's take care of some housekeeping. Guys, if this is your first time here, we thank you for being here. And if this is your multiple time here, because we have the Tribal Council in the chat session, and it's live and it's direct. So we thank you all for being here because it's a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast. And you could be anywhere and you chose to be here with us. So we really appreciate it. If you do not know, we do have the Builders Tribe Forum. It is on at builderstribe.org. You can go there and join us for free. And if you're in the building or you're interested in building or you want to know more about building, go ahead and join us over there. We answer any questions. We got a bunch of new members that just joined this past week, guys. Welcome to you all. If you're here with us or if you're watching on replay, we really appreciate you. And tonight we're going to just talk about anything you want to talk about, man. Anything. It could be gun related, it could be weapons related, it could be non-gun related. As long as it's respectful, we're going to talk about it tonight. So tonight, guys, I just want to go ahead and let you know that if you have any questions, go ahead and ask in the chat session. If you just have the questions for the tribe that's over there, go ahead and ask. They'll be more than willing to answer. If it is for us, me, myself, Weapon XYZ, or if Hawkeye's on, Hawkeye, go ahead and I'll put 4 question marks up and we'll be happy to answer your question. Or if you have a subject that you want to talk about, go ahead and put the 4 question marks up so that gets our attention so we know the subject that we want to bring up next and we can bookmark it. Last thing, guys, if you joined us last week, we talked about the top 5 mistakes in planning and building. If you missed that episode, go back and watch that on the Builders Tribe channel. It was a lot of information shared there. If if you're starting your build or if you're halfway into a build, it'll help you to avoid some of the pitfalls and mistakes that we had. We learned along the way. So we had the growing pains. So we're going to help you circumvent some of those growing pains. That way, you can get to an easier build first time out the gate. So without further ado, I want to introduce my man, my partner, Mr. Weapon XYZ. What's going on, my dude? I can't hear you, man. Did you turn your mic off?
What to do, people? How's everybody doing tonight? Yeah, I muted it while you were doing your intro.
Oh, man. Appreciate it. What's been going on with you this week? You got some news for us? What's been going on, man?
I just been doing the same old stuff. Started a new job. Started working at Lowe's recently. I don't know if you guys were all familiar, but for the last about 3.5 years, I've actually been working for Activision. And I was doing quality assurance testing for video games. So yeah. I worked on, if you guys look in the credits for Call of Duty Cold War through Modern Warfare 2, you will see my name in the credits. Obviously not Weapon XYZ, but my real name.
Yeah, he's the definition of a grown-ass man sitting at home playing video games all day.
Yep. I took it as
anyway.
Yeah, I took it as a COVID job to get out of retail sales management at the time. And I stuck with it for about 3 years. I was actually starting to get a little burnt out, and I'm sure I was getting ready to go into another title. And typically at the beginning of a launch, it's crunch time. So you're talking 16 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. You eat, sleep, television in your face. So
I can see
they laid me off and did me a favor. I had to get back out there, and I have a passion for retail, mostly customer service. I love helping people. So I decided, there's a Lowe's really close to me. I know quite a bit about tools and, DIY stuff. And so I went there and I'll, climb my way up like I have at every other place I've worked at. So.
Yeah, man. Sometimes that's what you got to do, man. You got to shake it up a little bit.
So far, I'm probably one of the most experienced people in there when it comes to job experience. Most of the people I've run into, I started here, back in January. I started back 3 months ago. So, with my
more room for you to take over.
Right, with my nearly 20 years of retail experience, it'll be no problem.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to shake things up. I kind of felt that way
man.
when I was doing Uber. I just got burned out on it and was like, you know what, I can't anymore. Even though I still go out and do it sometimes when I want to make a little bit extra money, I might go out tomorrow for a little while and on Thursday. But yeah, it gets that way. You got to shake it up, and you got to, like you said, they did you a favor.
Oh yeah, no ill feelings, guys.
No
ill feelings whatsoever. They pulled the trigger before I did.
Cool.
They Han Solo'd me, if you will.
Oh man, so what do you want to talk about tonight, man? Tonight's Tuesday night free for all, man. And usually we do a free for all when we got nothing else that we really want to necessarily do the research on to talk about. Because we could talk about the what do you call it, the arm brace thing. We could talk about California and the gun roster. We could talk about just about anything. But the one thing, we're definitely not the news channel, but we do talk about current events. So looks like we got Hawkeye coming in hot too. So Hawkeye, come on in, man. What's going on with you?
Hey guys, I got a question for you, XYZ.
What up, man?
You etch a lot. Is it possible to etch a 1/16 deep without affecting the slides from being unsafe? I guess it would depend on where you would etch it, but mostly in the front.
1/16 isn't that deep. The etching on my Deadpool build is probably pretty close to that. Maybe just a little shy, but for sure it's possible.
Well, I'd be filling it in. Once I etch it, I'll fill it in, so it ought to bring back some of the strength back to it.
Right. I wouldn't worry about it too much, man. There's a lot of metal there. There's a lot of metal.
Well, I got a practice piece I'm going to just engrave the heck out of, and it's a rock slide. So that's all they're good for.
Fucking have at it. Do it to a half an inch for all I give a fuck. No.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose. I want to see how far I can etch it, because my idea is to fill it with mother of pearl and build it up and then sand it all off, like you see an inlay on a piece of wood. I want to see if I can do that on a pistol. And that was why, because I want the etching to match whatever carving I would do into the frame, and then I would fill it all in with inlay and sand it. Anyway, that's my idea.
1/16 would probably be possible. I would do either a bath or a stamping method as opposed to a rubbing. You'll get a deeper etch with a stamping method. Doing this instead of this.
Right.
Almost like how I created my iron for my stippling or my etching, where I simply just lay it down. I apply good pressure. I'll remove it every once in a while, add a little bit of liquid to kind of get rid of some of the chemical reactive leftover crap. And then I'll go at it again and just keep stamping. That way, all I'm doing is going down further and further and further, and I'm not spreading it out.
Yeah, I made a well with clay to hold all the solution in, because you need that build up of solution to get it to burn.
Right.
But that's my plan, and I got everything laid out, and I've got pictures, and when I get further along on this, I'll do a post up on how it works, and if it works.
And I'll make a quick joke for everybody. You wanted to know how far you could etch on a rock slide before it's safe? It wasn't safe to begin with.
Exactly. That's why I have about 4 of them to test with.
Wish I had a graphic. Hey, guys, I totally missed the step here. We didn't introduce who we got in the tribe tonight. Who we got in the tribe tonight, man?
Starred.
Yeah, you got them all starred. I missed it. So who we got?
Here. Go ahead, Ram.
No, you go. You got it.
All right. We got Monty Reviews in the house. What up,
Monty was the first one up in here. Welcome, Monty.
Oh, yeah. Hey, he's usually late, man. It's nice to have you here a little early tonight, brother. We got Nolan T in the house. Welcome, man.
Welcome, Nolan. Of course, Mr.
Hawkeye. This guy right here. The Blade Boy in the house.
What up, Blade Boy?
A lot of the usual suspects and a few new names here and there.
Yeah.
And Mr. Vino in the house.
Mr. Vino got here early.
Darth Dav.
What's going on, Dav?
Ancient Order.
Ancient Order. You got to fight with your girlfriend so you can get on that chat. I was going to say, man, you are here early. Didn't you say your girlfriend had you in check? What's going on? Welcome, my friend. Welcome.
We got Matt Adams in the house. What up, Matt?
Welcome, Matt.
Raymond Stewart.
Ramon. Welcome.
We got Ed Levance.
Yeah. It looks like all the usual suspects, and we definitely glad everybody's here. And let's see. What did you
get past that all?
What did Nolan say? Nolan
pop up.
He left the office to start fresh CNC workshop this year. Dude.
Yeah, man. Change is good. You know, I don't know if you go to the forum, go to my profile. I put up a post a bit ago about making changes in your life, and it's good, man. It's always good. It's always good to make different changes in your life and, you know, try different things. And
yeah, always, all the time. But yeah, Ed Levance, Ed, I saw those G26 barrels. I almost pulled the trigger on one, even though I don't want to build the G26 just because the price was great.
I'm going to answer quickly here Blade Boy's question.
Yep, go for it.
Oh, so Blade Boy said he's sitting in traffic. He said, what magwells fit SC frames? The answer, sir, is none. That's the short answer. You can find, I believe there's one company that makes a magwell for it, but it would essentially render the firearm useless unless you plan on holding it with 3 fingers or 2 fingers, because it's going to wedge essentially your, pointer finger and your middle finger up in there, and you're just going to have these dangly bits. And I've got small hands, guys. The size of a computer mouse. You know what I mean? I'm joking, obviously, bigger than that, but
you're better off putting one of those extensions on your magazine.
Yep. Get an extension that gives you a good flush fit. I actually prefer the Tyrant, or not Tyrant, but the Strike Industries, like +2s or +5s, just the polymer ones. You can actually even stipple those, as you guys will be seeing here once I reveal the build that I've been working on for a while. So it's full stipple grip into the mag extension. So there's a way to get it to match your frame and make it look really nice.
Check out that Knight's Watch build I did. I put an extension on that magazine that just matched perfect, and it stippled and everything with the whole build. That was a nice one. I forgot the name of that one. I think I got it from Lone Wolf, maybe. I really don't remember. But if you check out the post, I've got it posted in there of what brand it is and where I got it.
Cool, shmoo. Okay, so G26, man. It would feel like a toy in my hand. A little, I got big Pause. So,
just so happens the next one I'm doing is a 26 with a 22 conversion on it, and I kind of like it. I shoot the heck out of that thing all over the yard.
If Rand wanted to compare his hand to the size of something in his house, he'd have to go grab a 16-inch fry pan. your big old fucking catcher's mitts.
Big hands,
extra large pizza hands.
Yeah, they get me in trouble sometime though.
Oh, I bet.
But give me some water. So, in current events, watched a couple of videos on what's going on with the pistol brace situation. One of which Guns and Gadgets. I haven't watched one in the last couple of days. I know there's been a couple that's come out. But it seemed to me, if you watch the one from a week or two ago, when the judge that granted injunctions on the frame, he didn't grant the injunction on the pistol brace. And Jared read the entire response, and it read to me that he was saying exactly, he was almost like an instruction manual on this is what it needs to say in order for me to grant the injunction. He's like, this is what you should have put in so I could legally do the injunction. It was hilarious to me because I was like, I wonder if they're going to come back and fix all of the problems. It's like almost like you see a test and you kind of the teacher kind of weaves in there. Well, this answer was, and they give the answer without giving the answer, and then say, okay, now you can retake the test. And it was funny to me because there are a lot of speculation as to whether the pistol brace situation is going to go away. I think it's going to go away.
Bob's popping in here.
Judge Reed's gave a roadmap to win. Exactly.
No, I said this right after the Paul and Rady injunction, guys. This is just it's going to set a precedence going forward. They're going to continue to look at the ATF like the boy who cried wolf. So most of the things the ATF tries to do with their overreach is just going to get shot down because, they already had their hands slapped twice now. Mm-hmm. Both from 80% Arms and from Paul and Rady.
Welcome, Bob. Bob came in hot with what I was looking for. I couldn't remember the judge's name.
Some good stuff.
Absolutely. It was definitely a roadmap, and I was sitting there going, wow, okay. Yeah. So if they lose this now, they just weren't paying attention. So, but anywho, anything else going on?
You're never late when you're here, brother.
Anything else going on? You guys want to talk about anything? I'm watching the chat. You guys are chatting it up, but what do you guys want to talk about tonight? Anything you guys need to know about what's going on? I know Matt's got a build going on. And Matt, did you ever get the trigger situation taken care of? I actually meant to post a picture of the because I got a couple of extra. I wonder if they would get upset if I held up a trigger housing with a connector in it.
Probably.
I wonder if that'll get us knocked off. We'll get another strike. But who else got a build going on?
I know Ancient Order just dropped 2 new ones.
Yeah, Ancient Order, man.
Like I said, I like the little G26. Just the color scheme for the trigger just a little off for me. But I said, dude, I would dye more the frame teal. They actually make a teal that with the gray would pretty much match your trigger. Either drop the copper for the trigger or add a little more copper to the build just to not make that look like the only parts like
dude, it's fugly. Wait, before I get to that comment. Welcome, Dirty Bob, man.
Man. That Han Solo thing, that is kind of cool looking.
Dude, I would fucking love to do something like that. me and Ram and Hawkeye and Nas and a few other guys, we chat quite often, and we've actually brought up that Han Solo build at least 10 times, I think, within the last few years that we've known each other.
Yeah.
I know Ram's brought it up quite a few times because he really wants to do one.
Yep. Definitely. I'm excited to see how yours come out. Yeah, I'm not going to show anything full auto, dude. That'll be the end of this channel.
New.
Yeah,
we would never.
Yeah. What you got, Playboy? I got the G34, but had to slide back to Lone Wolf from being so shoddy. Yeah, I've heard that happening. But Ancient Order,
which is sad, man, because they, in my opinion, their one Lone Wolf slide is like sets the bar when I look at all other custom slides.
And what's crazy, I was going to do a Lone Wolf build before I found out about the community. I was kind of out there in the desert by myself going, okay, I think I want to build a Glock clone, and Lone Wolf was the first thing I found. So that's kind of what I was looking at. And then I came across the old forum, and I kind of forgot about doing a Lone Wolf build.
Well, I've built 3 of them, and I really like them. They're really nice to customize because there's a lot of plastic on them, and they really fit my type of hand really well. But you'll see when I start posting pictures of these 22 conversions I'm doing. I got one that's a Lone Wolf and one that's a P80, and they're both 19s. And the size difference is, I mean, you can really see it. The Lone Wolf is a lot smaller frame pistol than the P80s. But they're both really nice. I doubt if I ever build any more of them, but I have nothing against them. I kind of like the custom stuff I could do to one.
Real quick, I want to get back to Ancient Order before we get too far off.
How did you know that's where my eyes were at when I started laughing?
Because I started. Yeah, man, and like I told you, if you want to do so, I wish you could send me the frame, because I'd love to stipple that for you, man. But with everything going on, and cannot send a firearm through the mail, even though some companies. It shocked me when I had to send back my Smith & Wesson, and I sent it straight to them through FedEx, and they're sending it back to me without going through FFL. I was like, that just sounds illegal. But anyway. Yeah, man, if anybody wants, because right now I'm in the process, I'm doing some builds myself, but I'm also trying to build a a catalog of different things I've done. So if you guys got some simple stuff that want to get done, you want to get painted, send it to me. We'll get it painted for you. All you gotta do is, if I don't have the color, the only thing you'll have to do is buy the paint, send it to me, and I'll send you the paint if you want to keep it with you. But the paint is not too expensive, but you'll get, who gets a custom job? Say if you want a 3-color camo, who gets a 3-color camo for like $90? And it's gonna be good, because I ain't letting nothing out of this shop bad.
Right.
Because I got this guy and I got that guy. They won't let me do anything bad and let it come out of the shop. So, if you want to do that, great. If not, no big deal. But let us know how it comes out. Like he said, you could do some teal accents to match the.
He said, be careful what you can do with another person's firearm without an FFL. Correct. That would be no modifications that affect the way that it shoots.
Yep.
And that would also mean, nothing involving any serialized parts.
Right. Which is why I said
no milled, no milled or drilled frames, etc. I was just expanding upon
pins, slide pins, trigger pin, and the mag extension are all non-serialized parts, and they're not being modified, so there's no FFL needed to paint something for someone. So it's just like painting a piece of wood or a piece of plastic.
Yep.
It is what it is. So, but yeah, if you guys got anything you want to send me, no fire control units, no milled frames, None of that, but I'd be happy to work on it because, like I said, I'm building a catalog, and the more I have to work on, the better.
What me and Ram had done in the past before any rulings or anything is, if you are going to send the frame, just send it by itself. Just the frame, no lower parts kit, no fucking jig, nothing. Just the frame, no box. You can literally just put it with some packing wrap inside of a box and send it.
Yeah. But yeah, other than the different color temperatures, it looks great, man. The build looks great. Have you had a chance to shoot it yet, Ancient Order? I would love to show what I'm working on, man. It's coming out absolutely awesome. I can't wait till this thing is done. These two gentlemen on the screen with me are working on it right now. Well, Weapon will be working on it very shortly. Mr. Hawkeye, he's already gotten the part I sent him to work on, doing some etching and some polishing. It's gonna look awesome.
Oh yeah, is Nos in the background?
No, he's not here tonight.
No,
yeah.
He's either at work or knocked the hell out.
Yep,
Yeah.
That man's been working
I sent him a package,
crazy.
and ought to be there sometime this week.
Hey man, I got to give a shout out in here again. Recently, Hawkeye sent both me and Ram some packages that had a bunch of polishing stuff in it. You're the fucking man, dude. That was awesome. It was a big surprise for me. I was downstairs and I'm like, I got a package. What's this?
Definitely a big surprise.
Yeah, it should nice, be everything you need to.
Right. It was like I said, it was a few tips I was missing. Some of them that I had worn down to nubs, like I don't remember the name of them specifically, but they're like a Brillo pad kind of a texture.
I call them 3M polishing pads, but that's not the name for them.
Yeah, similar to that. Like something you would use to wash a pot with,
But those things are great.
Dude, they're awesome.
You work on a frame and you've sanded it and it's kind of got that dusty look and stuff, you can hit it with a couple of those and man, it'll look good, and then put polish on it.
Yep.
It's really easy.
Those are what you use to get it to just before you're ready to start the actual polishing. Like I said, I've wore the two that I had down to nubs. They give you guys, if anybody's ever used them, like a Scotch-Brite Brillo pad.
Yeah, that's what they are on a wheel. Yep. You need to turn them slow, or they just fly apart. So you need to be able to control your speed on your Dremel.
Got to turn them slow, or add just a touch of oil to whatever you're doing your work on, so that it slicks off of it a little bit and doesn't catch and grind. But it's awesome. I love those wheels.
What I've done with those polishing at work and stuff, I'd always add a little bit of kerosene. I always use a lot of kerosene when I polish steel and stuff, and it also works good on
kerosene.
Yeah, kerosene. Get the odorless kerosene. Mm-hmm. I actually ran out of kerosene here a while back, and so I grabbed some mineral spirits. And mineral spirits is pretty close to the same thing as kerosene, and I've been using it, and it works just as well.
See, this is the type of stuff you find out if you spend time on the forum with these guys, because they share information all the time. Especially Hawkeye, he puts together some awesome blogs and information on the builds he's doing and post pictures. So go ahead over to builderstribe.org and sign up for a free account and join us and spread some information that you have. You may bring us some information that we don't know. Because one thing that we never pretend like we know everything, because there's always something we can learn.
I'm always looking for ideas.
Absolutely. So come on over and join us. If you guys are watching on replay, post up in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts on the show, and watch some of our other shows. So
I'd almost be willing to guarantee I've learned more from this group here. What do we have on here? 10 people now, than y'all have ever learned from me.
So Bob says,
we all share and we share alike.
Yeah, no doubt. So what about lamp oil, guys?
It would work.
I wouldn't use the stuff that's got the scented stuff in it. I don't know what that is, but lamp oil basically is an oil.
Yep.
It's
very close to like kerosene.
Yeah,
very,
it's real close,
similar.
but it has an odor, so I would put it more in the odor version of the kerosene. See, there's two kinds of kerosene you can get. There's one kind that's dyed red, has a red tint to it, and supposedly that's the kind that farmers can get and not have to pay taxes on it till the end of the year because of their business. But a white clear kerosene is supposed to be odorless, and well, it's like after tax kerosene. It's like going and buying gasoline. You just go buy it wherever they sell it, and it goes a long way. And really, kerosene is what I use a lot for after I polish a frame or sand a frame, or I like I sent you guys some of that lapping compound, 500 grit lapping.
I'll be putting that stuff to good use.
Well, I would work all that into my polymer frame, and that helps bring back the luster and all that. And I would let it set. Well, that lets the oils get back into that plastic, because what happens is when you sand it, the oils go away, and that's why you lose your color. But you don't want that frame real oily when you paint it. So after I polish it and get the oils back in and stuff, I'll take a little clean rag with some kerosene on it, and I'll clean that plastic frame off, that polymer frame, and let that dry a little bit. And then that's
let it sit, and the kerosene just evaporates.
Well, it'll leave a residue. That's why you need to go over that with acetone or alcohol or something like that before you want to paint. And don't ever clean your pistol frame and start touching it before you paint. Once you clean it with acetone and everything, don't touch that thing.
Rubber gloves, latex gloves, guys.
Yeah. Well, what I use is I got these.
I just use the Force
little clips. What do they call those at the doctor?
Alligator clips.
They're bigger than alligator clips. They're for getting in there and cutting off veins and stuff. What do they call them?
Okay.
Well, anyway, I got a whole set of those in all different sizes.
I know what it's called.
I'll grab my pistol or my barrel, wherever I'm going to hold it when I paint it, and then I'll wipe it down with acetone, and I never have to touch it again. It's always hanging.
Yeah, hemostatic clamp.
Yeah. There's a name.
Bob. Thanks, Bob.
I'm old. I forget stuff. Yeah, that's it.
I beat you to it.
Yeah. But that works real good for when you're painting stuff, because you can hang, you can hold
forceps spread though? Forceps clamp, or do they spread? I thought forceps spread.
Well, there's two kinds. You can got some that clamp on and some that'll clamp open, I guess.
And sure, that's what we always called them.
Roach clips, that's it.
Even the non-smokers.
I wouldn't know nothing about that growing up in the late 60s and 70s. I
not at all.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We're getting off in the weeds here. Let's pull it back. Pun intended.
Well, that's what tonight's for, man. We can get off in the weeds. It's free for all tonight, man.
We get off in the weeds. Is that right? Okay.
That's what I said.
Oh man. Yeah. So I usually I bought a pair of chemical resistant, which I think called nitrite something gloves. Yeah. So they're chemical resistant because I was doing this new project with some different chemicals as well as Cerakote. So I needed something that wasn't going to eat through the gloves I had on. And they're powderless. So they've worked really, really good with not getting any oils and everything on the different parts after I've already sandblasted them and gassed them out and everything else. I mean, I was afraid to touch the slide I just finished. Even after I was finished, I was like afraid to touch it with my bare hands.
You don't.
I'm like, you dope. It's already clear coated and everything. You good.
Yeah. I got a bunch of little tight silicone surgical gloves that I used to use at work all the time. And I thought, well, I'll use them here for paint. Well, they work real good until you get to acetone, and acetone melts those. They'll melt them right on your hand.
Wow. Nitrile. Man, Bob, what do? You know all of these terms, dude. He's sitting in front of everything.
Him and Google are really good friends.
Yeah.
Hey, Google, stop listening.
Yeah, no clue about the devil's lettuce, Darth Daff. Okay.
I got an answer for you for that.
I had to
popped up.
Yeah, I had to I don't have Googles in the house, but I have all Alexas. I had to change it all to a different word because Alexa kept getting attentive to whatever I was talking about. So, yeah.
To be honest, man, our Google is a glorified stereo and kitchen timer. It doesn't really do much else because we don't really use it for much else. It's back there to answer the occasional like measurement question or set a timer, and then act annoying.
Yeah,
that's the yep.
But so what else we got here? We got we can unstart these. So what else happened this week? This week. Oh, I went to Maryland. Man, I tell you what. I went to Maryland. Well, I went last week, so I think I probably told you guys I went to Maryland and got my fingerprints done for to get my wear and carry permit in Maryland. I came back and I tried to share some information with some of the other instructors with USCCA, and I was told by no uncertain terms that my information was incorrect. And they were on the verge of cussing me out because I'm giving false information. And I'm like, you guys, I gave phone numbers, I gave email addresses, I gave physical addresses. Why don't you call and confirm what I just said? So since they got adamant about it, I decided, you know what, let me call again. So now there are 6 people that gave me the same information that they still don't believe. And I'm like, what is with people? Why can't they just understand that things change? This one guy was like, there's no way Maryland is allowing you to send in because the fingerprints have to be electronic. They wouldn't allow you to send in fingerprint cards. Yeah. Meanwhile, I said you have to send the cards back to that company and they're going to digitize the fingerprints and put them in the system so you can then file for your. These guys refuse to read anything. I'm like, what?
You're like, well, I mean, I could be lying to you guys, but I just did it.
I don't
just did it. Why would I lie to you guys about something that I just did?
Yeah. and I'm giving the phone numbers that they can call themselves and verify. I'm not saying it's not like I just came and said, hey guys, this is what you can do. Trust me. Anyway. I just thought that was kind of, I mean, it just goes to show you some people out there just refuse to accept. I mean, I had a guy after I went through the Glock armorers class argue with me about the barrel on a Glock and whether it has lands or grooves inside the barrel. I'm like, I'm like, dude, I just went to school last week. No, you're lying. That can't be. I'm like, if I had the book, I'd show you. Well, you're going to have to show me when you get home. No, I don't. What we got? We got a question by Ancient Order. Anybody tried the Tyrant Suppressor Height sights?
Yes. And if you have a red dot, they don't work.
Why they don't work with a red dot?
Because they're so wide, they get into your red dot footprint. Mm-hmm. So you can't put your red dot on.
So it actually over it.
See, most of your sights are about as wide as your dovetail in the back.
Mm-hmm.
The Tyrant one is a little bit wider than the dovetail, and it extends forward. And when it extends forward, it drops right into the area of where your red dot is. Unless they want you to put it in backwards, I guess.
Yeah, the only way I think you could probably use the Tyrant ones. I haven't used them, but just done my research, heard word of mouth and stuff. I think the only way you can technically use them on most of your Glocks is to do a combat sight. So you get yourself a combat cut. Put the rear sight in front of the your red dot instead. It's pretty much the only way it's going to work.
That Young Wolf build I did, it's got all Tyrant bling and stuff on it, and I was going to put those sights with it, and I couldn't use my red dot, so I had to put. I think I ended up putting in.
Well, I have
my answer to your Ancient Order.
Yeah, I had one snap too. So
yep.
It
seems to be a regular occurrence.
Their screws aren't too I don't know, too strong.
Maybe it's bad heat treat. I don't know what it is, and I'm saying that from the heart. Saying that from the heart. I love Strike Industries. I've always been a supporter of what they do. I love their products. Just the front sight screw guys. Come on.
Hey, Bob, real quick. These were USCCA instructors that were giving me the goods, man. But they supposedly called Maryland State Police, and the state police told them I was incorrect. Even the state police don't even freaking know. Dolph Dab, keyboard warriors. Exactly. I put them in ignore mode. I just decided not to answer anymore. I've given the answer twice, and they refuse to believe me. So it is what it is. Pointless then. A little bit about what I discovered with the combat cut. I love it. Under the right conditions, it works perfect. But I realized on the range, when I was trying to use my iron sights, depending on where the lights are at your range, you may not be able to see through the glass to see your iron sights. I could see the dot, no problem, but I couldn't see the iron sight in front of the RDS.
So I'm like, of a glare? Was it
from the glare? There was a glare from the fluorescent light at the range where I could not even see. I could see the front sight, I could see the dot, but I could not see the rear sight that was right in front of the Swamp Fox Justice. And it might just be with the Justice, depending on the angle of the red dot, but that was
me too, Matt. Me too.
That was crazy. So you guys might run into that if you run a combat cut. Depending on the lighting situation, you may not be able to see your rear sight right in front of the optic. So that kind of sucked, but it is what it is. I still wouldn't give it up, out in broad daylight, I haven't had the problem. It's just been on the range.
I'll also say too, if you're running a ported slide and you've got the combat cut, that comes with some stuff as well, because you're gonna get carbon and stuff that's gonna kind of come up. You're gonna get a little bit of flare, and when you have the rear sight in front of the dot instead of behind it, you then don't have that reference due to the glare off of your front sight. Mm-hmm. But if you're running a fiber optic front sight, then you don't have to worry about it. Then it's a non-issue whatsoever. Not that it's an issue to begin with; it's just an overcoming thing.
I have that Marine gun builder slide that he came out with, and I might try and put that sight on that and see if I can use it on that one. That's got the sight in the front.
Yep.
Well, Ancient Order, here's the thing, man. Strike, they'll no question and answer send you exactly what you need. They sent me a whole new front sight. I didn't lose my front sight. I just the screw just snapped, but without a doubt, I just gave them a call They said, okay, we'll send you on route out. And within a couple of days, I had another one at my door.
Yeah, they took care of me really well too.
Yeah, they'll take care of you if you should ever happen. And it's only happened on Copperhead. Of course, that's the one I shoot the most, but some of the other ones that I shoot pretty frequently, it hasn't happened. And I've got strike sights on all of my.
I'd also like to add that Rams happened during live fire. Mine happened while I was tightening it and may or may not have been partially my fault as well. Yeah,
that's when I had one break.
I might have over tightened it.
Yeah,
it's a wonder that when you tighten them, especially with the original Glock sights, that you don't strip that plastic out before you break the screw.
Yeah. Speaking of which, guys, and we're going to get more into tools when we talk about the top 5 mistakes, the tool edition. But if you don't have, and I know. Guys, trust me, I'm not picking on anybody, but everyone should have in their tool collection a what do you call it? Damn it, why am I drawing a blank tonight? Screwdriver.
I'm full of brain farts today, bro. Full of them.
Jesus. What do you call a screwdriver that clicks once you get to a certain inch pound?
Oh
yeah.
Torque.
A torque screwdriver.
Yeah.
And it needs to be measured on inch pounds of pressure. So, it could be 25 inch pounds or whatever the case is, but you should have one in your tool bag because you could easily over tighten your front sights. Your if your rear sight has a set screw, you could almost punch through depending on how thick your torch wrench drive. Exactly, Bob. I knew Bob would have the answer. If you tighten down a red dot onto a slide and you over tighten it, you can punch through the slide depending on how thin the cut is on the slide. I've seen it happen. People go down and they just crank down because they don't want it to come off instead of using freaking Loctite, But
I'll be honest, I am terrible with tool names. Absolutely terrible with tool names.
Yeah,
I'm going to be going and installing some or switching out some lighting fixtures tomorrow, and I'm somebody supplying the tools for me to do it, right? And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to need blah blah blah. And I was just like, hey, wait a minute, just set me up with the installing a light fixture package, bro. Just put all your stuff in there for me and just send it, because I don't know the names for this shit for half of it, dude. I just know how to use them and what they do. Too much other information has blocked some of that stuff out.
Yeah, Loctite's a must, guys. And guys, don't ever. It's happened to me. Don't ever say that the Loctite that you see on those screws is enough. Yeah, they're supposed to heat up and melt, and I've never seen one heat up and melt on a optic. Every time those screws come out, I've taken screws out for people and put Loctite on them, and it never melts.
And I will typically use
screws. And I'm like, I'll bring my Loctite.
Yep. Blue for your red dots, folks. Red for your front sights. You can heat up your front sight, especially if it's made out of steel or it's made out of aluminum, to break the red Loctite. You can't do the same thing on your sight if you ever need to take that sucker off, and especially if your battery compartment is below.
Yep.
Blue for your red dots, red for your front sight.
Yep. And you should use red for the front. Why? Because that gets the most heat. If you put blue on there, you might lose your front sight.
Yep.
Because if the front of your slide is going to get the most heat, and that could loosen up the screw because the Loctite's not locked.
Mm-hmm.
The red will keep it pretty tight. But
the red requires heat, typically some decent amount of heat to get it. It's one of those things where if maybe you have a polymer or plastic front sight, if you have the ability to run a few rounds and then take it off, like at the range or outdoor range or whatever the case may be, do that. Run a few rounds through it and then take off your front sight if you're using the red Loctite.
Yeah,
You're still late for your comment too, bro. You just rewatching now. You're just rewatching now, aren't you? I love you, bro.
Yeah, I had one of my students hit me up and say, I lost the screw in my red dot. I said, did you put Loctite on it when you put it on your gun? He goes, what's Loctite? I'm like, oh, Jesus. But all right, just bring it to the range next time we meet, and I'll bring some screws, and which was cool because I had the right size screw. But oh, here's a fun fact I've just found out. Guys, get your pens and paper out. This is a fun fact. If you plan on doing any type of, bro, I was here before everyone still was late. What the fuck? Yeah. If you ever plan on using a OEM Sig Sauer slide and you want to put a RMR or anything else on there other than a Romeo, the screw pitch that you will need, guys, take note, because I had to do some research to find this and finally found it and got it. It's an odd size. Screw pitch is 6-40. It's not 6-32, although that will thread a little bit. If you thread it too far, you will strip the threads. Yep. And you'd be lucky if you strip the threads on the screw, but you might strip the threads in the slide, and then you just ruin the slide, and then you got to retap it. 6.40. Matter of fact, I'm putting it in the chat. 6-40 is the thread pitch for Sig Sauer. Well, let me say this: for Sig Sauer P320 compact frames, slides. Should be the same for all of them, but that's what I was doing. So
yeah, a lot of them are 640.
Adam, so it depends on the company. Man. So for example, one of my most recent build, the slide is from Gun Cuts, right? They use a completely different screw threading.
Do they use 440?
I think so. The screws that came with my Swamp Fox did not work for my Gun Cut slide, so I actually had to reach out to Gun Cuts, say, hey, you guys got any of the screws you guys use for when you guys use RMRs for each slides? Yep, they sent me out a pack of them. So I got a few different, size lengths and stuff in case I ever, wanted to run a plate with a different dot on there, or whatever the case may be. So
I think it might be 440 because I had to buy a bunch of those as well.
Yeah, there's 440s, 640s. The 40 stands for the distance between the threads, and the 40 is a fine thread where you get like a 32 or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's more of a coarser thread, but the reason for that is you're actually tapping into such a small area. It needs to be a fine thread, so it's a 40.
Yeah, I've used 440s.
Now that M17, that's a metric size.
So no, M17 is the SIG.
He's talking about the SIG M17.
The military.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it probably is, Bob.
Some of your screws that you can get will start with an M, and those are metric threads.
Yeah, the M3,
M4s. M3, M4s.
Yeah, I
used those a lot back in my electronic tech days.
I got a whole drawer full of screws.
And that's why you got a screw loose.
More than that. That's why.
I started since
I don't use Loctite.
I've had quite a few loose my whole life, and that's why I'm a nut. Come on, I'm full of the puns tonight, guys. I'm full of the puns tonight.
So since I started doing more RMR stuff and getting people's RMRs zeroed, I started buying and taking note of what size screws are needed for different slides. That way, if they come, I'm like, okay, this is like the Smith & Wesson is a 632, I believe, 632 for all of those. Every Smith & Wesson I have used the 632 screw. But every aftermarket that I have, that's my, Boogeyman Customs, the one I'm working on now, and all that. Those are all 440s. So
aren't the Swamp Fox don't they send you a whole pack of different screws?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I think that's
they're
where I
either
ended up getting.
if the screw pitch is right, if the screw pitch is right, the length is probably wrong. If the length is right, the screw pitch is off.
Yeah.
So you end up, having to.
Yep. So I had a screw in my
something.
Swamp Fox that worked. Like Ram said, it was one of those deals where you could get it in, and yeah, it worked. But you know damn well if you tightened it down, you were going to strip something, or it was just, you'd get like an eighth of a turn. So damn well, an eighth of a turn before you felt it catch. So damn well it's not going in far enough to hold anything. Nope. It would end up just stripping itself off during live fire. So
Yep. Guys, if you ever want to get some bolts, I use monsterbolt.com. Monsterbolts.com. That's where I get all of my my bolts from, my screws from for RDSs, and I just bought it like 10 of them for like $6 in the 640. That way I have them for any, I still got 2 more SIG builds to do, and one of them is going to have a SIG slide on it. I think the other one's going to have a Killer Innovation slide on it, but
monsterbolts.com. Bob said McMaster Car will also have a selection.
Yeah,
you can also stop at your local hardware store often, not in every occasion, but
you can find 440s at Lowe's. You can find 440s.
I've had luck before.
My Lowe's.
I'm not talking about your big box hardware stores. I'm talking like your Super Value, your Ace Hardware,
right?
Your mom and pop shops,
your neighborhood shop.
A lot of them at one point in time also used to carry gun parts and stuff, or they had at least a small selection of it. So if you go into your local, Ace, or True Hardware, or whatever the, small little box, small store, and just ask them if they have any of the, M3, M4, M17 screws, the 440s. They typically will, at least have a small selection of it, and you might get lucky. Do what I did and bring in, either bring your slide in with you, no barrel, no inner parts, just the slide itself. It's just a hunk of metal. Bring that in with you and use it to test with your dot, or just bring your dot in with you and test, use it to test the length, make sure it sticks out far enough in the bottom.
Yeah, really. I wouldn't.
Yeah, Bob, I agree with you.
Sure,
I wouldn't trust the metal and screw from a big box store. Nah, mom and pop shops typically carry better quality stuff because they buy it in smaller quantities.
There should usually be a rating. There should be a rating on them on what they're made of, or how hard they are, if they're hardened or not.
Money said he just gets long ones and cuts them. That's another option too. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've done that a number of times.
Tip on that. Well, never mind. You can cut them.
Man, is that another pun? I think that was another pun. That was another pun.
I cut a screw too short when I was doing the last SIG. I was putting the Swamp Fox Justice on a SIG slide for one of my students, and I cut one too short, and I only had 2 of them. I only had 2 of the correct screw, and I cut one too short. And this was when I went down the rabbit hole to try and find out what the thread pitch was. And I went to the gunsmith at my range, and he looked at it for me. He took out this plate that's made by Brownells, and they have a metric and they have
I know the one
regular. And he found the screw pitch. Right. He says, "Oh, it's this one." Boom, boom, boom. He found the wrong one, but that's okay. It's neither here nor there. The point of the story is, he says, "Yeah, I see your screw. The tip of I see you cut this one, and it's it's a little jagged on it." He said, "Here's a tip. Get you one of these plates, screw it in there, and then just chop it on the other side of the plate, and it comes out smooth. And then once you twist it out, it takes out all the burrs."
I got a pair of wire cutters back when I did a lot of electrical work, and they have 440s. And
this guy.
And anyway, you can put those in and then clip it off, and you can screw it back out.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob. SAE and Imperial. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We go. You got to show up every week, Bob, so we get our terminology correct, man.
Exactly. Put the man in the spotlight. He's got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, no doubt. Appreciate it, SAE and Imperial. Thank you, because I wouldn't have thought of that ever.
Well, it comes back to me now that somebody says it.
Yeah, really.
I don't deal with it that much anymore, so I kind of forget a lot.
Hey, look, I went in Harbor Freight and I went looking for some impact wrench sockets, and all I saw Imperial and SAE. I'm like, what is Imperial and SAE? Oh, I looked at it. I was like, oh, I got it. Metric. All right, guys. We are. Matt said he has one of those. Hawkeye.
Yeah, they're nice
Bob,
to have.
You're the man, dude. Well, we are at the 1 hour point, man. Time flies when you're just chatting and
absolutely, man.
Sharing
knowledge. Hell yeah.
Man, it just goes by so fast. I really appreciate all you guys being here. Thanks for coming on, Hawkeye, and thanks for being here, Mr. Man, Mr. Weapon XYZ. Anybody got anything else you want to discuss, man? We're always willing to go over time if everybody else has anything else to talk about. We don't want to leave anything unsaid for next week or anything like that. Like I said, guys, if you didn't watch last week's top 5 mistakes during planning, go back and watch it again. Gotta start making girlfriends. All right, man. Well, we gonna let you go make up with your girlfriend. And
you let us know next week if your next project you're working on is a doghouse or not.
Yeah,
it probably will be. We'll probably
listen. Next week we're having Hawk's Corner. We're going to talk about painting. If you got any questions on painting, post them in the forum and we'll hit them up. Otherwise, we're going to talk mostly about the prep work and the two different kinds of paint that we're familiar with.
Thank you for reminding me.
Thank you. So,
next
chime
week,
in.
Hawkeye's Custom Corner.
I'll be listening. I'll be all ears, man.
Paint Prep 101. No, you're taking part in this one, man. You've got paint under your belt.
Yeah. Anybody that's never done any painting needs to talk about it, because I'm not a painter.
Put together your slide deck, man. Put together your slide deck. We can share them all.
Well,
I'll put together a slide deck of the paint that I've worked on with Liberator and what I can share on this new build. What insights I learned on this new build. I learned a lot.
I've screwed up more than I've actually got out in good shape. So
that's how we learn, man.
That's how we learn.
That's how we learn.
Right.
There's no mistakes. There's only unplanned occurrences, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, we are going to get out of here. We thank you for joining us. Everybody that's here, if you're watching on replay, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for us. And, it helps the algorithm, trigger the algorithm to put us out. So our messages aren't getting sent like a week after we've already been live. But we'll talk to y'all later. We love you. See you next week, guys.